What's up guys and welcome back. First of all, if you would like to support the channel and donate to me, my PayPal will be in the description, so thank you all. Now, I got this amazing concept some time ago, a truly intriguing one, about what if Naruto rejected physical chakra. Someone wanted to see what will happen if Naruto only focus on the spiritual element of chakra as we venture into a new area, venturing into something that rewrite the very essence of chakra itself, granting the user new foresight, new glimpses beyond the normal conception of what chakra is. As we completely remove physical, chakra is made of two, physical and spiritual. We're only going to be focusing on the spiritual element to see where that venture and carry the user. Well, I'm finally here with it guys. If you want to see part 2, just comment down below and tell me and I'll be posting it as soon as possible. So without further ado or wasting more time, let's begin this. Now guys. We begin this episode with a man. He was in his early 40s. He had dark brown hair, gray eyes, as he was dressed in a very expensive set of clothing, weaved together by the expensive and most richest of materials. However, at the moment, the man who was known as Konu was terrified as he was currently locking himself inside. There was at least 20 to 30 guards. His main guard stood there. "Don't worry, sir. We will ensure that you are safe." Konu nodded as the door was shut. He then made his way down another secret hatch. Another door shut behind him. 3 people was in there, as all of them was ready to fight. He bypassed them and made his way down. As he went down, each level that he made his way down, there was another door. Konu arrived into the final room. As he picked up, there was a clock there. He looked at the time. It said 11:58. He remembered the deal all too well. As the words went through his mind, "If you are able to hide from me until the clock strike 12:05, you are free to live your life however you see fit." Konu was shocked by that. That was the reason why he had rushed to accept the deal. That was the reason why he did what he did. Well, there were other reasons, he thought to himself. His lifestyle had elevated beyond the normal level. Konu sat there as he was terrified. There was so many guards between him and that person. You see, Konu was a part of a very powerful family. They hail within the land of lightning area. The family was not exactly associated with the daimyo of the land of lightning, but there was some connections there, but they weren't truly ingrained. Konu and his family had a lot of feud, while their wealth was enormous due to their past generation, ensuring that said wealth would be passed down to all of their offspring. And Konu's father was, well, he was a dog. He had a lot of children. So Konu, who was now a greedy person who hated to see most of this wealth squandered to them when he was the first son. Yes, you heard that right. He was his father's first. But his father never stopped there. And despite him being the first, things weren't set like that for him to inherit everything. His greed got the better of him. So he decided to take someone up on their offer. Someone that has been, well, greatly popularized within the elemental nation. He had no idea where the person came from or if they were even humans, given the stories that he heard or the things that he's seen. Konu decided to make a deal in exchange of him inheriting all that wealth to truly live the life that he wanted. Woman, land, everything at his disposal. Konu never saw the benefit of being one of those people like some of his other siblings, having so much responsibility. He was a very lazy individual. So he made a deal with the man known as the Maker. That was just one of his many names all over the elemental nation. Soon enough, Konu family started to drop like flies. Konu did not care one bit, due to the fact that they did not care for him either. They were all money-grubbing repugnants. All they desire was for their own beneficial status. They did not care for each other despite having the same blood running through their family. Their father was the same, but none of them, not a single one of them, had the same mother. Konu was the only one left. He inherited everything. He became one of the most wealthiest men within the entire elemental nation. His wealth rivaling entire villages, as businesses was dealt with due to his second-hand and, well, ownership that he passed on. But not completely. Konu was living a life. He remembered the deal all too well. If he wanted the process to done quickly, his time would be shortened. However, the time on his payback, as he said it, would also be quick for him to try and escape. 5 minutes. He would be given 5 minutes. And if he was not taken by that time, Konu would be free to live his life without anyone coming after him. He believed that majority of it was, well, fake. But as the time drew closer and closer, he could feel that he messed up due to his greed, his arrogance. And now here he was, hidden away. He had this place built for security, but the recent add-ons was to ensure that he would be safe. It would take him some time to get down here. He would come at 12. And he had 5 minutes to come for him. And if he did not make it, thus their pack, thus their blood connected, Konu would be free. Bam! The sound of the clock hitting 12. It sounded so much louder as Konu turned his gaze. A huge lump in his throat. No one knew that he did this. Majority of people that made a deal with the Maker, well, they kept it to themselves, as people were afraid to associate with them afterwards. After all, to the public, Konu family members were hit with a strange illness that eradicated all of them, and he was lucky enough for a medic to realize what was the case before his life met an end. That medic arriving on time was, well, it wasn't ordinary. After all, he was the only one left by then. Konu backed himself up against the wall, now terrified to what he has done, as he waited. However, as the clock hit 12:01, nothing happened. Konu looked around. Maybe all the rumors were just an exaggeration. Maybe they were false. Maybe this wasn't going to happen. But why? Why did his life take such a drastic good turn? There has to be some payback, he said to himself. Realized how arrogant he has become. How arrogant he was to think that there would be nothing to give. And now, as the clock hit 12:02, Konu's heart started to beat faster. In actual relief. Perhaps, just perhaps he would not. 12:03. Konu's smile started to stretch on his face. It seems like he would be free. He couldn't break his own deal. He heard about that. If he broke his own deal, well, bad things would happen to him, so he was going to be free. 12:04. Konu's smile could swallow the entire world in happiness, as he couldn't believe it. It was all fake. He was going to be just fine. Hello there, Konu. Konu's heart felt like it dropped right out of his chest when he turned his gaze to the corner sitting in a chair that wasn't supposed to be there. A cup, a white cup, within his hand as he sipped on his tea. Konu turned his gaze fully towards the person. He started to back away. I. The person tapped his hand right where a watch would be. Konu snapped his gaze towards the clock to see that it read 12:04. Please, you don't have to do this. I can pay you. I'm one of the richest in the world right now. And you probably know that. I can give you land. More money than you can ever think of. Woman. Anything that you desire. Unfortunately, the person said as he placed a teacup down, I won't be needing any of that. I've came because you owe me something. The person got to his feet as Konu pressed himself against the wall, trying his darnest to open the door. However, it felt like it was shut solid. He turned his back and beat his fist on it. Help me, he screamed. Shh. The person placed a finger to his own lips. No one out there can hear you now. Konu crashed his shoulder against the wall again and again, but nothing. He collapsed down, tears in his eyes. I don't want to die, he said. Oh, you're not going to die? Konu eyes widened hearing that. I'm not. The person knelt down and placed a hand on Konu's cheek. Of course not. There is so much more usefulness out of you. Why would I kill you? I don't understand, said Konu. I thought you were... Shh, it's alright, he said, caressing his face like everything was gonna be alright. You're still going to be alive. However, your soul will be mine, he said. Violent screams could be heard, echoing within the room, as no one could hear. After 12:05, the door opened from the outside. Sir, you're sick. The two men were shocked, unable to believe what they were seeing, as the body of Konu was lying there. There was no wounds, no stabbing, no slashing, nothing at all. But he was stiff as a board. His eyes were completely white, and there was nothing there. No pulse, nothing at all. He was gone. Time skip. The Hidden Leaf Village, otherwise known as Konoha, said to be the strongest nation in the entire world. We find one Minato Namikaze as he was sitting down within his office. Minato Namikaze was the fourth Hokage of the Hidden Leaf. As he gazed towards the scrolls in front of him, names of the students within the academy, rosters, team assignments. They were going to be graduating not too long after this. His two children were also there as well, as they would also graduate and become ninjas. He gazed towards a photo with him and his beloved wife Kushina, a boy and girl. Right beneath them, Menma and Mito. Menma was just like him, focused, calm, calculated, always trying to think of an option when there was none, especially in their training sessions. Mito was more like her mother, driven by that strong, powerful Uzumaki will. The odds could be against her 1,000 to 1. She would try to fight her way out. The both of his kids could not be any more different, and he loved them for their individuality. He loved them both without a doubt in the world, as he gazed at their photo with a smile. However, memories wrapped through his mind and twist into his very soul about another. You see, Minato had one more son. Menma and Mito were born when Minato and Kushina were both 24, Kushina being a few months younger than him. However, It was when they were 19 years old. Something happened. And, well, it was an accident. They never meant for it. They never wanted to have kids that soon. But they did. They went through with it. And they brought a boy into this world. His name is Naruto Uzumaki. Minato thought with a sad gaze. You see, Naruto was different. Even from he was a child, you could see that he was different. Normally, when a child was brought into the world, they cried. But not him. He looked at them. He was simply looking at them. The doctors tried to make him cry to see that everything was okay, but he downright refused. As impossible as you thought that was. They believed that there would be some future complications with his health. But no. He grew to be a fine boy. His hearing, his sight, everything was a-okay. But there was something different about him. It was his outlook on things around him. For a young child, his mind was cryptic and sometimes even dark. He said certain things. He did certain things that were downright scary most times. Like once they found him within the kitchen as he was holding a large cooking knife. And he was slowly dragging it across his finger. And for some reason he was smiling. They brought him to get him some help. Doctors couldn't understand. Medical experts, mind experts. Naruto was just different. He was going well with Inoichi Yamanaka, who was trying to help the boy to understand him, to see why he regressed certain emotions. But that was not helping. Minato wished that he destroyed that book the moment Naruto found it. You see, the Uzumaki clan, now no longer as popularized as they once were. A long time ago. Following the same bloodline that Kushina was directly connected to. Her father and his father before his, and his father before his, was connected to a past legend. A man known as Ayashito. Ayashito Uzumaki was a sage of the Uzumaki clan. However, it is said that Ayashito was blessed. While most believe that it was a curse in the beginning, it was a blessing. Chakra is made up of two special components, physical and spiritual energy, but Ayashito, he lacked the physical energy. Yes, he lacked it. But his body did not seem deprived. All of this was written in ancient scrolls that Kushina had at her disposal. However, like normal users, he could never truly use chakra as they did. So Ayashito discovered that there was another way. It is said that he was the first and that he was the last to truly awaken this side of chakra. There were some things that were written down about this man. Things that he did. Things that were so horrendous that most of the elders believe that it should be, well, it should stay in the past. But some information was written down by some others. And Kushina was the one to have this, due to it being directly connected to her family. However, there was one certain book that no one could open. It is said that Ayashito was the only one. Time and time again, Kushina line was checked to see if any of them was like him, because they didn't want someone like that to originate back in their clan. Because unlike most who fought for their clan and saw the well-being of their own, he did things to his own clan members. So Ayashito was seen as a monster amongst monsters. Kushina had the book with her when she was brought to Konoha, but it was never truly opened. But there were scrolls about the past. Some believe that it was legend, some believe that it was just a story that was made up out of boredom, but on the day that Naruto found it, flashback, he was almost 4 years old. A young boy. He had bright red hair like his mother. However, at the end of his bright red hair, was a tint, like his father blonde mixing with his mother red. His eyes were peculiar. They seemed full and yet so hollow at the same time. They were blue, but the color was just more tan and darkish. Something was calling out to him. That was the only way that he could describe it. For someone so young, he was smart. He knew that he was different. He often see that when his parents looked at him. Most of the time their gaze looking rather concerning. He understood why they brought him to different specialists to have his mind examined. But he had no idea why he did the things that he did. He was just, well, he doesn't really know. But ever since a few weeks ago, there has been this itch, like something scratching at him. And it has gotten stronger because it was no longer an itch, it was a calling. Making his way up to the basement, Naruto found nothing special until he closed his eyes and focused. That is when he felt it. Stepping forward, Naruto found a strange book buried under layers of different things in a deep box. The moment his hand touched the book, just a simple touch, a quake, a literal quake went through Konoha, shaking the entire village. No damage was caused, but everyone felt the small quake. Naruto felt something different though, something shocking. By the time Minato had arrived back to the home, as Kushina had located the source, they were both shocked to see the book open. A book that Fuin Jutsu could not open. A book that physical strength could not open. Yes, they were shocked. End the flashback. Minato wished that he could have destroyed the book right there and then, but he did not know. What Minato did know though, was that Naruto was connected to this past Uzumaki. It was in the bloodline after all, and he was afraid. So was Kushina. It also allowed them to know that Naruto was unable to use chakra like them. And seeing that, they realized that the similarities with the past and the information that was given was much stronger than they thought. But Naruto was different. Without the physical form of chakra, nothing that he did came together. His chakra wasn't stabilizing, there was no strength behind it. It wouldn't allow him to boost his speed or strength, nothing at all. It even lacked the necessity for him to use other aspects of spiritual chakra, like genjutsu, fuinjutsu and all of that. There was no true strength behind his chakra, making it weak, watered down. Naruto was angry about this. He hated the fact that he was being punished by something that he doesn't really understand. They were his parents. Both of them were his parents. And the two of them combined had genes that was so special. His father was a Hokage after all. Naruto was angry by this, and there seemed to be no way to fix it. Seeing that Naruto was becoming obsessive to find something, and he was diving deeper into that book, words that they could not see because all they saw was blank pages. They caught him reading to himself, and that look on his face, it terrified them. So they took it away. Yes, they took it away and banned him from ever using it ever again. He was so angry. You could see it in his eyes. Minato remembered that day. Kushina felt physical pain at seeing the way he looked at her. However, not too long after that, Kushina was pregnant, this time with 2 children. They feared Naruto's reaction, knowing how. He saw the fact that he could not use chakra, because Naruto saw it as a great burden, because he was supposed to be special, because they were special, they were his family. That is how he saw it. As they tried to assure him that doesn't matter, he never took their word for it. It even made him more angrier. They tried their best to help him, but Kushina was going through a lot with the pregnancy. As Minato was being stretched very thin, he was trying to support her. He was also trying to support Naruto and protect the village. He was doing so much. As little after little, they started to put their attention on the new expectant children, having less and less time for Naruto. And he did not really say anything or do anything to show that he wanted to spend time with them. Yes, it was their responsibility as a parents to make a move to say something, but they believed that they were doing what was for the best for the new children that were coming. They could handle everything after that. However, on that night, the village was attacked by a masked man, and the Nine Tails was ripped out of Kushina. However, a sacrifice was made, a sacrifice that Minato wanted to make, but instead, Hiruzen Sarutobi. He lost his wife. She was killed by the same masked man. He decided that he would be the one to pay the ultimate price. He gave up his life, using the Death Reaper's seal to split the Nine Tails, placed in half inside of Mito and half inside of Menma, sealing away the beast forever, trapping it away. As the children were brought into this world, Kushina, she was supposed to die on that night. However, Hiruzen Sarutobi did something that, well, he did not know if it would actually work. He used the residue chakra that surrounded them. Because the Nine-Tail being ripped out of her had released so much chakra. Chakra even spammed towards the land of fire outside and affected many. He sealed that chakra back inside of her. Kushina was in a coma for a full month, but she woke up. She pulled through. The doctors were amazed. Her Uzumaki gene was truly God work right there. Truly a miracle upon itself. She was saved and she was alive. Naruto started to associate back with the family after that. He even came by to see his siblings. He was acting so different, so nice, as they thought that everything was going to be fine. Until they left him alone, just for a minute or two with the children, and something happened. When they came back, there was blood on the ground and on the wall as well. As the two children were crying, their arms and legs, markings on it, a small little knife that Naruto has at his disposal. He was immediately subdued. Both Minato and Kushina were shocked, unable to believe what they saw. They rushed the kids to get medical attention. From what the doctors had found, the blood that was on the wall and on the ground should be a lot more. They were missing a lot of blood. It was a very tense, immensely session right there and then. Very tense. But they pulled through. Yes. And as you can see, they are here today. They pulled through. Minato was so angry, knowing that Naruto was smart enough to know wrong from right. He knew the difference. He knew what he was doing. But the words that came from Naruto's lips on that day said that he was just upset that he didn't get the chance to finish what he started. Kushina was mortified to hear that. Minato hand lashed out before he could think, as he struck Naruto across the face. They had him locked up. Not in prison, of course, but somewhere he couldn't hurt anyone or hurt himself. They will deal with him later. In the time period, they were making sure that the other two were okay. Kushina never tried to stop Minato, horrified by what her son had said. Both of them were. However, the problem rose the other day when there was an emergency. He was gone. Confusion cleared through the both of them. He was gone. Nowhere to be seen. He was just gone. There was no trail, nothing. He was just gone. Like he never existed. There was a hard period after that. Both of the parents felt like they failed him. They failed as parents. They tried their best to ensure that these two were raised properly, that they weren't spoiled, that they were better, that they could raise them better, and that they could be good parents. And over the years, they thought they've done a lot to ensure that. as right now both of them were on their way to becoming splendid shinobis. The book had also been gone as well. Sometime Minato believed that Naruto was still out there somewhere, hiding away from them. After a year or two of searching, there was absolutely nothing. Naruto didn't really have friends within the village. Well, he did have a friend. His name was Itachi Uchiha, Mikato's oldest son. The Uchiha clan, there was a lot there as well. However, Minato Namikaze was trusting of Fukaku, believing that he would not see any harm done to the village. Danzo Shimura was trying to isolate the Uchihas, but Minato intervened and changed a lot when it came to that, gaining the trust and the hand of the Uchihas to show that they would work together to make the village a better place. Minato had Mark, the one that had took the Nine Tails out of Kushina. However, he could no longer feel that connection. The person was somehow able to remove that mark, but they were out there somewhere. Fukaku, the leader of the Uchiha clan, knew about this. Minato had told him because he showed him right there that he could trust him, that he did trust him because he believed he wasn't behind this. And Fukaku was not. They've been working together to make sure Konoha was much more safe, to ensure what happened never happened again. The both of the children being Jinchuriki was a secret that was kept only to a couple of adults. Majority of the populace had no idea on where the tailed beasts lie, and the children had no idea either. Well, there was a few, well, you couldn't call them children, but they were not as up there as most of the adults. Minato's gaze was still focused on the picture there. Maybe, if things had taken a better turn, Naruto would have been there as well, smiling happily with them. However, it seems like fate wouldn't allow that. Time skip. Unknown location. Whistling could be heard. Within a rather large, spacious location, there was a table that looked like it was for the size of a king and a lot of his men. But only one person was sitting there. The table was at the front, where the front door was. There was a bell at the top of the door to signal someone entering. This place wasn't exactly normal, as someone sat behind the desk writing when suddenly the door opened. As 5 people enter, 2 flash behind him, one to his left, one to his right, one behind. 3 blades were placed at each section of the back of his neck. While someone stood on the table, a blade was placed at the top of his head. The slightest movement they could end his life. Stepping in was a man with a scar under his eye, dressed in a formal uniform from Kumo. He was a jonin that hailed from the village. His name was Raiden. Raiden was a very powerful jonin. In terms of your average jonins that haven't really made a name for themselves. If you move without my permission, you will die, Raiden said. If you say what I don't like, you will die, said Raiden. Do anything suspicious and you will die, said Raiden. The young man had stopped writing on the paper that he was writing on, as he placed his hands flat on the table. As he looked up, Raiden gazing into his eyes. Those strange, hollow eyes. You're not my 3 o'clock. However, I'm always open for new business. How can I help you? As Raiden gazed towards the individual. Red hair, the spikes going down into his face. It was tan at the bottom of the spikes. They could not see most of his clothing, but they could see his upper form though, as his clothing was rather strange. So tell me, how can I help you? You made a mistake setting up your shop here. It wasn't that hard to find you, Raiden said. We still have no idea how you keep on moving across the elemental nation like it's nothing. However, this will be your final destination. You've placed a curse on the daimyo son of the land of lightning. We are here to ensure that you remove that curse. Otherwise, we will remove your life. And before you even think of doing anything stupid, this entire building is surrounded, Raiden said. My oh my, it seems like you've covered all the grounds. The young man said, looking towards Raiden. So you would like me to remove the curse? First thing first, do you have any idea why I placed a curse on him? That does not matter. We're going to ask you only once to come with us, and we won't have to rough you up so badly. Otherwise, you will experience pain that no man should experience until you break and give us a way to remove it. Oh, so I'm guessing that you can't find a way to remove it. Well, I suppose I'm not surprised. After all, it was done by me, and I suppose I am the best. You want to know something? The young man said. You see, the daimyo's son and I had a deal, but he broke that deal, and because of that the curse arrived. I have no way to remove it. Or maybe I'm lying. You can't know. Enough of this game, Raiden said, knocking away the paper and everything on the table. Pick him up, he said. Two of the men lowered their blades and grabbed his arms, as the other one on the top removed his blade so it would not stab in his head, but he did place it at the base of his neck. Do anything stupid, and you will not make it outside, Raiden said, as they pushed him. He stopped right at the door. Knock him out, Raiden said. The man behind him turned the blade to the flat side, but before he could strike the individual, he screamed in pain as his right arm was completely removed. The other two were hit so hard that they crashed into the wooded table. But by some strange understanding, the table did not even budge or crack. But you could see the force that they hit it with and the agony that they were in. Raiden's eyes widened as he dashed his gaze around, trying to pinpoint what was doing this. Something was moving along the ceilings. It was so fast, faster than he could keep up. He quickly raised his arm as he had an earpiece. Moving now, he shouted. However, nothing happened. Hey, the young man called out to him as he opened the door. Outside was nothing but corpses. Raiden was shocked to see all of his men dead on the ground, unable to believe what he was witnessing. Wait, don't kill him just yet. Raiden's body stiffened as a blade was pressing against his neck. It already nicked him as he was bleeding. Raiden looked forward as he saw the three men that he came in here with dead on the ground. He could not even swallow, afraid that his throat would be ripped open. Raiden was stiffened where he was, afraid to move. As the man stepped forward and pressed a hand against his chest, right where his heart was, as he leaned in and whispered in his ears. Raiden's eyes turned white as he collapsed on the ground. He was unconscious. Now, Maze, what took you so long? The young man said. A smile appeared on the woman's face that was standing there. She had jet black hair that went down into her back. Her entire body was covered from right at her neck going straight down, in a skin-tight black suit with strange curves and grooves all over it. She seemed to be in her early 20s. She had deep purple eyes, as she was spectacular in every department. I figured that you would want to entertain yourself a bit, Master Naruto, she said. Standing there was none other than Naruto Uzumaki, the first son of Minato and Kushina Uzumaki. Now 18 years old, he was a completely different person than he was back then. His outfit alone, you could see that he wasn't an average individual, judging by his clothing alone, starting from his ears. He had on earrings that were green and seemed to be flickering in a strange pattern, like there was something inside of the small little bells on the bottom of the earring. Going down his cloak, which covered most of what he was wearing. It was crazy that he wasn't even hot inside of this place. It was barely seeable, but his clothing seemed to have edge writing in it, like someone had forged it together with a strange carving tool, almost like it was metal, but it was not. And at the same time, it was so loosely flowing around him, like the smallest breeze could ruffle him completely. If you truly focus on the robe, you would notice that it was high-colored, as the clothing that stretched down to the bottom looked like it was being bathed within its own shadow, almost like it was endless. You could not see it now, but if he were to actually fight, the moment he had touched Raiden a moment ago and whispered in his ear, inside of his chest area you saw a pulsating humming light. His arms, while not fully viewable because of the coat, are wrapped in dark bandages. Same for his lower half as well. His body was mostly covered and you could not see his feet, as you could not tell if he was barefoot or not. Time skip. Raiden arrived back towards his home to give his report to the Raikage. Immediately, cautions were taken given the fact that Raiden was alone. Having been sent with a team, a whole team and backup, to return alone, something must have went horribly wrong, as they wanted a debrief before he was, well, to speak to the Raikage. Everything seemed on the up and up. As he was brought in, the Raikage was furious with him. How could he have failed so significantly? For the longest time now, they've been searching for this one that has been a problem across the elemental nation. No one has ever seen him and talk about him. The ones that trade in something for something they desire, they had no idea what he looked like. They might speak to him today, but tomorrow they had no idea what he looked like or what he truly took from them. But they knew that they got what they wanted by entering that place. Some of them remember, depending on what they bargained for. You see, people were stupid enough to even sell their own soul. Many believe that this was just fake news, that he was killing these people, but it had nothing to do with his soul. Believing that that was just a mystic tale that he was trying to do to boost his reputation. But time and time again, more of these crazy news, things that seem impossible, started to show up. People with severe illness that had them dead within a year or two was cured. Impossible illness that could not be cured. People were saved and people were cursed. The daimyo, son of the land of lightning, got mixed up with this man. The last conversation he had with his father about what he did, but he never truly told his father what he did it for. But he did tell his father though that he was cursed by that man. And yes, he was indeed cursed, as he found himself getting worse by the day. He was losing himself, losing his name, losing his identity. He was becoming a blank, empty slate with nothing inside and nothing outside. To stay in a state of constant emptiness, like a vegetable, but even worse, no process, no thoughts, nothing, just like he wasn't even alive, like he didn't even exist. They tried to help him, but no one could understand the methods that were used, and they were trying their best, but so far, well, they were failing. So the daimyo came to the Raikage for aid, and after so long they were able to track this so-called place down. It simply appeared where it needed to be. People did not know where he is. People had no idea when he would show up, but he did leave behind a card. But only those that was in business with him could use the card. If you were not, there would be some rather nasty, horrendous side effect if you tried to summon him. That it is said. At the moment, the Raikage was waiting for the full explanation that Raiden was going to give him. "Nice office you have here," Raiden said. The Raikage eyes immediately became suspicious. "Who are you?" he questioned. "You don't know me. However, you sent your people after me. I'm not sure that I ever did anything to you or your people. Well, I suppose you do work for the daimyo, but a deal was broken. So in turn, I took something away from him. His ability to do anything else. Stop sending your people after me, because if you continue, I'll kill every last one of them." The Raikage stepped forward. "Do you believe that I will bow to a threat from someone like you? I've seen many people like you rise and fall in the past, and you will be one of them as well. You made a mistake by killing my people and not using your services to ensure that the son of the daimyo was cured, and for that, you will be hunted," the Raikage said. "Your arrogance truly knows no bound. But before you do something stupid, think about this. I was able to get this man past every one of your checkpoints. Your envoys and your ninjas believed that he was normal enough to send him here, despite having all of his men killed. How much more do you think I can manipulate in this way? To send them to your village? To cause them to implode upon themselves, taking thousands along with them?" The Raikage fist clenched. "Try that and you will." He was cut off. "Please. Do you even know what I look like? Do you even know who I am? I could be here within your village. I could be right next to you, about to snuff your life out. Well, it wouldn't exactly be that easy. You are a Kage after all. But still, don't send your people after me again, unless you want to forfeit their life. And I promise you, the next time you do something like this, I will retaliate." Suddenly, Raiden's body collapsed on the ground. The envoys there, they were just waiting for the opportunity to strike, but the Raikage did not give it. One of them checked his pulse. He was just gone. Nothing. They checked him to see that there was no wounds on him, but his heart, it had stopped functioning. The Raikage questioned to himself, just who was this individual? So many has trusted him and given what they could to gain what they deserve, in terms of health, wealth, luck. But now, he was becoming a true problem, the Raikage thought. Time skip. A few months later, Naruto Uzumaki, the one that they believe was dead, the one that they were unable to find, was currently gazing over towards a lush, beautiful forest. There was a smile on his face. As he brought his hand up, something floated from his palm, a strange pentagram, glowing with a blue light. It floated down towards a flush, beautiful forest. Little by little, you started to see the change. The birds that were chirping were no longer chirping. Animals started to fall. It was like an infection, like a disease, slowly rotting the core of the land. And within a couple of minutes, everything was dead. Everything. Life itself seemed to have stopped existing in this place. As he stepped on the blocking soil, he opened his mouth and started to inhale. A strange mystic energy started to flow straight into him, giving him a rush. As a smile was plastered on his face, he enjoyed it, siphoning the nature itself. A long time ago, Naruto learned that he wasn't normal. He learned that he wasn't like your individually average child. He knew that from the beginning until he found that book though. He used that book and it showed him the way. It showed him what he needed to do. And he almost killed his two little siblings because of it. He still had the book with him to this day. The theory was, without the physical aspect of the element of chakra, they awakened something new, something that has never truly been seen before. There was only one other user before him, and he wrote the book about his findings, things that he suddenly knew, things that he come to understand. You had stories, you had fairy tales about magic and this and that. However, their power was the closest to magic that this world would ever see. Their abilities no longer define your natural law of a shinobi life. And Naruto realized that from a long time ago. This wasn't something that everyone could simply awaken if they did not possess physical chakra. You see, even as it sounds now, it was crazy. Physical energy, otherwise known as shintai, was drawn from the cells and stamina of the body, increasing with physical training and vitality. This is the part that fuels strength, speed, and durability. Without that, the body should not be able to properly function. However, it seems like their cursed bloodline was tainted to be different. Naruto has never felt weak, he's never felt drawn, he's never felt watered down, because he was powered by something else. His spiritual energy, which was derived from the mind, spirit, and experience, increased through learning, meditation, emotional growth. This is used to fuel genjutsu, sealing jutsu, or medical ninjutsu. But Naruto needed for neither of those. The power is known as forbidden spiritual art, also known as the Uzumaki witchcraft, the soul born art, or the divine spiritual magic. There was many names that was gifted to this, because each name possessed a different aspect of what these abilities truly represent. Chakra without physical energy, fueling the spiritual energy solo. This is rare, extremely. There was only two wielder and he was the second of it. He searched to see that there was no other. He searched to find if there was anyone else, to see if this was only tied to his blood, but it was. But neither his mother nor his siblings possessed it. Neither of them did. You see, because of the way his body worked, without physical energy, Naruto chakra becomes ethereal. It was more driven by emotions. And that was the reason why he was so different as a child. He could not understand it or himself. It was flexible, like magic. It wasn't bound to the normal chakra rules. It wasn't confined to being able to only use one element or training to learn another. Those rules did not apply to what he can do. With the spiritual energy, one is able to truly become one with their soul, allowing them to interact with souls, curses, life essence, natural, spirit occurrence, and the natural nature of the earth circulating around them. It was the opposite of what he was doing. However, Naruto could feed on it. Yes, he could feed on nature. Feeding on nature was like empowering himself with more strength. Like drawing chakra from the very earth itself. It made him stronger in every single way. Smarter, better. In the beginning, there was only small aspects that he could do. Like soul threads. He could create small threads that could attach to the weak, trapping them within his essence and controlling them as he saw fit. He tried it once on someone stronger, but, well, he suffered the consequences, he had to say. However, as the threads grow stronger, they weave and tangle within someone's soul, being able to extract memories, link minds, and drain essence out of people. And once he learned to do that, it wasn't hard to learn how to curse individuals, literally marking their soul for damnation and death. His aspects could literally rewrite one essence and soul in many different ways. Naruto had learned everything that he needed to learn out of that book, as he's on another journey right now, to far surpassing everything that he was taught, everything that was written down, everything that he come to learn. Naruto was breaking through that limitation. While he had none, there was limitations because of that book. But there wasn't any longer because Naruto was doing things that defy the natural order, that defy the natural law. He knew that there would be consequences for his actions, but if he was strong enough, no one, absolutely no one, or no thing will be able to stop him. He had to be much, much more powerful. That is why he was offering his services. For one, he gained new aspect of people, understanding. Some people trade their souls. As there were some people in this world that suffer so much, they're willing to do whatever it takes. They offer their soul up to him, and in return Naruto fixed their problem. Either it be actually blessing them, the opposite of his curse, or removing someone from their life. He did not break his deals, because it was just as bad for him as it was as bad for them. A deal was written in blood, and he did not break a deal. His first wielder wasn't able to accomplish things like this, but Naruto was using it to make himself stronger. There were some people out there that he took different things away from. After all, some civilians had secret essence inside of their bodies, but they can't access it due to the fact that they don't possess enough chakra to actually use these essence. He gave those people what they desire. In return, they gave him what he desired. And it's been going rather well for the past couple of years. And he's only gotten more and more stronger. He hasn't seen his parents in a very, very long time. Their last interaction, they saw him as a monster who was trying to kill his brother and sister. However, things was not as black and white as they thought it was. However, he could not stay. There were things that he had to do. Things that he needed to do. There were other secrets. Secrets that were tied to the Uzumaki clan. Secrets that were tied to beyond the time of the Uzumaki clan. And Naruto knew the only way to truly unlock them, a desire that was burned into his very essence, was to surpass his predecessor in ways that his predecessor could not even dream of. It came to his mind in that moment, the first deal that he struck, to heal a sickly child. The mother had been with a very rich noble who saw her only as a wench to use as he saw fit. She was in love. He made her think that he was in love as well. But after the child was born, which would be a stain on his reputation, he banished the both of them like they were nothing. The child grew ill. She was desperate. She needed aid for her son. He would die. That is when he found them. He found her, and he offered his services. He did not take her soul, but he did take the father's soul though. Now you might be wondering how this was possible. The father had no deals with Naruto. Well, it was through the child. Naruto used their blood connection to forge something that should not be possible. Within that moment, Naruto knew that he was different. He had it all within his hands. And he knew that he broke some kind of rule, some nature law that should never be touched. He knew that within that moment, soon enough, there will be consequences to his actions. He did not know what it was or who it was, but something would come for him. But Naruto did not care, because he was so close in getting what he wanted. And once he does, things are going to be a lot different. She appeared beside him without a sound. Her true name was Masakine, but Naruto called her Maze. She was a human. She wasn't some creature or something like that. She was a human, but not the average human. And not exactly the same as what she once was, but she was still part human though. as Naruto turned his gaze towards her. "Your brother and sister has graduated," she said. "In the past few months that passed by, they've done D-rank missions, but your sister will be going out on her first C-rank mission. It's today. She's going towards the land of Wave." "The land of Wave? Isn't that where Gato is located?" "Yes." "Should I intervene?" Mei said to Naruto. "No," said Naruto. "It's been over 13 years. I think it's time I get to truly know my siblings." "You're going to reveal yourself to them?" Maze asked him. "I think it's about time," said Naruto. She smiled. "I'm so proud of you, taking the first step." Naruto looked towards her with a twitching eye. "You know I hate it when you do that." "I know," she said. "May I accompany you?" "Sure, but enough of that," he said to her. However, the smile never left her face. Their relationship was complicated. Extremely so. More complicated than you can even, well, drastically imagine. As both of them venture off. Meanwhile, her name was Mito. Mito Uzumaki Namikaze. Uzumaki was her middle name. She was a very headstrong young girl, having spent most of her time training to become the greatest kunoichi that she can ever be. Her desire was to be the first female Hokage, to lead the village in a new path. She was energetic, she was bright, she was everything. Will strong, but she could also be naive for her own good. It was because of her sympathy. She always wanted to see the best in people, always wanted to find that light, that pure, everything she believed had goodness within the darkness. She was a true gem, but she had her doubts as well, as you could see them clearly most times. Her own faults, that she would never be as best as she can, that she can never truly achieve what she desires. She was a child, she was young, she needed time, as she knew that the world was much darker than she thought. But she always tried to put her best foot forward, even as her brother Menma tried to tell her to truly focus and stop trusting people so easily. Because of her brother almost died. It turns out one of their sensei, known as Mizuki, was a traitor, and she trusted him, and her brother had to save her, and he almost got hit by a Fuma shuriken. Almost. She hated that about herself. While she liked to see the good in people, she could not allow that to take away from her family. They were the only families that she got. She or Menma had absolutely no idea about Naruto. The parents had kept that to themselves, believing that it would cause them more harm than good, as they did not believe that Naruto was alive. Her first mission outside of the village, Kushina Uzumaki told her to do her best and listen to her sensei. Her sensei was Kakashi Hatake, the last student of Minato Namikaze. Her teammates were Sasuke Uchiha and Sakura Haruno. As for Menma, his sensei was Yamato, the last wood-style user within the village. His teammates were Ami Uzuki. She was a younger sister of Yujiro Uzuki, one of the 4 Anbus that guarded the Hokage. Yes, she was indeed a big deal. The other member was a girl known as Sadara. Her name was Sadara Uchiha. She wasn't your average Uchiha. She was a younger sister of Shisui Uchiha. The team itself was powerful, put together in every single department to benefit each other, as their strength and their weakness came together to create a formidable team. However, this mission was Mito's. She would be heading out with her team towards the land of Wave, where she will have a rather shocking surprise. Minato and Kushina believing that Naruto was dead, still having no idea why he did what he did, why he tried to kill his siblings, but they are about to learn that it was a bit more complicated, and Naruto himself is about to learn that He should have left the past in the past, as there were things that he should not dig up, but he's already started, and there was no turning back. If you want to see part 2, guys, just go ahead and comment down below, and I'll post it as soon as possible for you guys to enjoy. But I'm off and I'll see you guys soon. Peace.